And welcome to Inspired Artist, Real Artist Interviews. And today we're here to speak with Clements, and she is a phenomenal artist. She plays with color. She's just really brilliant, and she does all these really cool paintings, and she does like daily painting prompts. She's just such an inspiration and just such a creative, fun person. Hi, Lee. How are you today?
Hi, that was a lovely intro. Thank you, Misty. I'm so glad to be here.
Well, thank you. I'm just so thrilled you're here today. I love your work. I love your mission. And I just love what you're doing for the creative world. And I would love for you to kind of share more about your artistic journey. How did you get here?
Well, my mum was always creative. She was an artist, and she used to do ticket writing and just a lot of drawing. I remember as a child that we used to just sit down and I would have a sketchbook all the time and just sketch. So I'd get the posters of my favourite, bands or artists, and I would just sit and try and draw them. And no, I'm not going to bring them out because they're not true. But I just was inspired by my mum, really, to have a go at anything. And we would always make these fantastic things for school projects because she just liked creating. She would sew, knit, crochet, draw, paint. So that just started me off on this wondrous world of being able to create something. And from there, I just kept sort of drawing. When I got married and moved down to Melbourne, because I came from Sydney, I sort of took a back seat then because I sort of then had kids probably 5 years later, and that was all a bit of a rush. And so it wasn't until years later that I picked up a paintbrush. A neighbour of mine said, "Do you want to try folk art?" And I didn't know what folk art was. And we just used to, when the kids were in kindy, then we would just go for a couple of hours and do a folk art class. And I thought, oh, gee, this is just reigniting something. And it just went from there. I just did classes. I found art journaling online because this is when, like, I'm probably talking, 25 years ago because my eldest
I remember that.
30. My eldest is 30 now, and it was probably 25 years ago. So then once YouTube started coming in and people started putting things online, it just opened up this whole world, and I was just like a sponge. I couldn't get enough of learning how to do different things. I did a couple of in-person workshops, and then, I sort of went from realistic painting to, I did oils, but it was too slow and it was too smelly for me. It was giving me headaches.
Yeah.
So then I went into what can I do to make this fast, because of course when the kids were at school or whatever, I would only have a small amount of time. And so I went into acrylics, and then I found art journaling, and wow, that just opened up such a different world of expression. But it didn't take over from what else I was doing on my wall art. So I just thought it complemented it beautifully. And, it just kept going from there. And I just like trying different things. So I did start. I said to my husband, oh, look, I like this folk art thing. I'll just have a little bench in the laundry. My laundry was big with a bench. And then we soon outgrew that, and he said, no, you've got too many supplies. You can take over half the garage. So I'm in the garage now.
I love that. Yeah, no,
but I love having my space.
Yeah, I think that's really, I think it's a growing point for all of us, because as an artist, you just grow art supplies because as you learn, you grow, and you just kind of expand. So I love that you went from the laundry room to taking half the garage. I just absolutely love it. And it sounds like my own kind of journey, and like kicked my husband out of his office, and I'm just like, oh, I need it.
Yeah. But having said that, because I used to have when I taught art journaling in person, in the classes in person, they would say, we don't have a studio. Now, and I do want to say to everyone, you don't need a set-up studio. So I've got a little I've got a big pencil case, and it's just got my little watercolor set and my sketchbook. You don't need a big studio. So I just get a bit obsessive about buying supplies, but you don't need a big studio. So I don't want that to turn people off.
No, it definitely, you do not need that at all. Matter of fact, I just went on a weekend trip. I literally just brought a small makeup bag with a couple of pens and some dried watercolors, and that's all I had. And my space was literally like 2 feet by 1.5 feet, and I was perfectly happy and content. So you do not need the space. It's just nice to be able to have a space to hoard art supplies.
Yeah, especially when you're a messy artist like me.
That leads me to a question, because your journey has been such a unique one and you've explored so many things. What did you wish you knew when you were starting out? Like, what would you, like, if you could go back, what advice would you give yourself?
The advice that I think stands out the most is that I would tell myself not to worry about the preconceived ideas of what an artist should be and what art should be. So early on, when I started doing this intuitive sort of, moved more into intuitive sort of background painting and just intuitive painting, rather than picking like a still life or a subject, I actually got comments of, I don't get what you're doing, and I don't understand what you're doing. And at the time, it just went bang straight. It just knocked me.
Wow.
And because I wasn't in that traditional framework of what people thought, you call it, that, like, they'd say, you're calling yourself an artist. What? Because I wasn't selling paintings at that stage. I was selling my other work when I was doing folk art. I was selling what I was doing. But yeah, so and I listened to that for a while, because I don't have any formal art training. I didn't go to art school. I don't have a degree in art. And I just thought, well, they must know more than me. And it was hard, because I should have listened to my mum, because my mum just kept saying to me, just do what you like. But she was 1,000 kilometres away, and I would have people closer to me sort of saying, well, that's not art. So that's what I would tell everybody. Don't listen to everybody outside you. If you've got this burning desire to do something and to follow a certain path in your artwork and creativity, and it doesn't matter what it is, it doesn't have to come out of a book, and it doesn't have to be, this is the list of things that you have to do in order. You just do what you feel and what's coming out of here, because that's what people want to see. They don't want to see a cookie cutter box of, okay, these are the steps that you take to draw a flower, and that's fine. There's a place for that. But there's a whole group of people that have got so much to say in art that get stifled by rules and restrictions.
I couldn't agree more. And I'm technically challenged with my art skills and things like that. But there is a beautiful thing in being able to do expression in our artwork. And even some of the greatest masters, yes, they were painting from still lifes and things like that, but you still felt their expression and their interpretation of what they're looking at. Yes. And I think it's really important, even though that, they're out of my reach with the skill sets that I have at this time, because I can't emotionally connect myself, to my, me personally to my art yet. But it doesn't mean art journaling is different, but I'm just talking about like the expression painting on canvas. But, there's a lot, like there's so much magic in that. And I see so much beautiful work that is just amazing to be able to see that, because to me, it's like a magical form. It's like this little fairy that's like, oh my gosh, look at that. It's so magical, and it's so beautiful in its own way. And releasing yourself from these like rules and regulations, what art is, what art isn't, is a really big, I think that is just such a helpful thing, because I struggled with it. I still struggle with it. You have one person like, ooh, what's that? Like, ooh, this was my test. I'm trying to learn how to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's better to create anything than to sit back and create nothing at all because you're too scared that you're not doing it right. Because there is no right and wrong. Yes, there's technical things that can help you do a certain style, but there's no right and wrong in how you want to express yourself. Yeah. And you never learn, and you'll never get better if you don't try.
I could not, like, I personally, I have stopped so many times because of discouragement or just these pressures that I put on myself. And when I made that commitment to follow through and make sure I had the consistency, I finally found that my work actually does improve. It grows.
Yes.
If you just show up. So if you can find the right teachers and you can find the right guides who, will help encourage you and help you stay inspired to do your work when you're discouraged because your skills aren't where you want them to be, you'll continue, moving forward. And that's something that I love about your painting challenges that you have on Facebook, is that you're bringing people there. You're giving them a place to like just show up to their creativity. Just for just here's this moment in time. Let's sit down, not worry about those things. Let's just paint. Let's see what happens. And I really love watching that, because I think that helps with everyone's journey.
Yeah, because that was born out of being in lockdown actually this year. And I had a few health challenges early on, so I didn't have a lot of energy. There was a few months there where I couldn't do a lot of creative things. I had a little sketchbook that I'd sit and draw, but I was very tired a lot of the time. So as I was feeling better, and then Melbourne went into the severe lockdown, I just thought I'm going to go stir crazy. I actually didn't mind being at home so much this time, but I just thought I need to do something creative, and what's something that I could just fit into my day that just makes me feel better about my day. And yeah, I just think it's fun to have a few challenges, because sometimes you get into a bit of a rut where you do what you always know, and then you need a few challenges. And just these little daily challenges, it's just one prompt, but can be interpreted so many ways. So that's why, and I think that's what I've enjoyed seeing with the girlfriend that I do this with. She's completely different style to me. We both have the same prompts. And even though sometimes we come out with the same subject matter, it's really eerie. We're sort of connected a little bit that way. But we can come out with completely different interpretations.
And I love that you brought that up, because even in one of my creative life groups, we are given daily prompts, and each and every one of those individuals expresses it in a completely different way. Like some of them, I would have never thought about it in a million years in that way. And we're just like, dang.
How fantastic is that though?
Yeah. And it's just so neat to see their ideas and how things play out for them. And I know it's from our experiences and the things in our lives that make us us, but it's so neat to be able to like look at that.
Yeah.
So I love that you do that. What was the biggest hurdle that you faced when you started taking your creative art into a creative business?
I think it was a bit of self-doubt, because it was a big step. And it does lead on from the voices that I had before of what I was talking about, that people said, oh, that's not real art, or I don't know what you're trying to do, or I don't understand your process. But it was, in the end, my limiting beliefs, because by that stage, a lot of people had stopped saying that, but I still had that in the back of my mind. Oh, I can't do this because I haven't got time, and I work, and I've got kids to run around afterwards, and all these things. And in the end, a friend of mine just said, you've just got to go for it. And if you try, then what's the worst that can happen? Okay, so it doesn't work out today, but it might work out next month. So yeah, I think that was it, just getting over it. And it's a continual thing of, yeah, I can do this, and people like my work and some people won't, and that's fine. I've just got to keep doing. I think I've got to keep reminding myself of why I'm doing it and why I want to share creativity and art. And if I hold on to that, then that feels good to me. So yeah, that's probably the biggest thing.
It actually makes me want to ask you is, like, how did you actually start transitioning? Like, I know, like, you started to notice your negative mindset and this belief that you had that it was not possible at that time. But how did you actually overcome these mindset beliefs to get you going forward?
I had an artist offer to be my mentor, a local artist, which was really nice. And I think it's surrounding yourself with the right people. And that sounds really business-like, but all I'm saying is that if someone's offering to sit with you and help you work through your mindset, say, or you get like, this is part of why I did the daily art challenge, is because I've connected with like-minded people. I've connected with my girlfriend who likes to do art, and that instills by you keep doing it. And it doesn't, because we don't have thousands and thousands of followers, but we feel good about it, and we feel challenged, and we feel that we're growing as artists. So I think it's, you actually surround yourself with like-minded people. And yeah, I just think you just keep doing it, and you just keep putting it out there. A lot of journaling. I do a lot of journaling.
You know, Lee, I could not agree with you more. Like, community is like number one to me. Community and connection. That is like the number one thing that helped me grow from, like, not doing anything, being discouraged. Once I found, like, my mentor and found a community where I could, like, they're inspired to, to stay on track with their art, and they're pushing you and you're pushing them. And, there's a little bit of, like, a fun competition, and, it just really keeps you motivated and connected to your vision. And I think that that's what that community and that connection and surrounding ourselves with our artist community that helps us stay connected to our vision and our passion to create art, no matter what our goal is with that art.
Yeah. And I think and if you get into a group or a connection that doesn't feel right, it's okay to change.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. I'm so glad you brought that up. It's
okay to move around and find something that speaks to you.
I think that is probably the best advice I've ever heard, because in the beginning, I just thought that was the only way to stick to the one group. And that's just not the case, because you can find the right support, the right group, and the right thing you need to stay connected. Sometimes it just takes a while for us to find it. Yeah. That's it.
And I think it's just being open to it.
Oh, exactly. You have to be open. You have to be willing to not, like, invest in yourself enough, and, like, really, really understand that your dreams, your goals, your ambitions, they matter just as much as your families, just as much as everyone else. And you have, like, I hate to say that you have an obligation to your dreams and your goals, but I feel like you have a purpose with your art. And even though you may not know what that is and you may doubt that, but I do believe that there's a purpose for it. But if you don't actually take the actions to fulfill that, then, you, like, in some ways, you're not giving that medicine or that art to the people who truly needed it at that time. And I know that's just a powerful way to say that, but I just know the power of art, and I know what it's meant to me. One of my best friends, she sent me her little girl, and it is one of the most cherished things that I ever seen. It was just her little doodle. She was talking on the phone, and she does these kind of things. She sent me that, and I because I was just like, oh my God, she's so beautiful. I just want to have her. And she sent her to me. And I keep this everywhere. It lives right here in front of me on my painting station. And her piece of art inspires me every day and shows me that just with practice, I'm going to get it. And so her art empowered me to believe in myself and to show up to this desk every single day. That's the power in what we're doing.
Yeah. Art can heal. Art can heal. And it can help you grow, and I never underestimate, people sometimes question that, but if I don't get my art fixed some way, then it's a mood booster. It's restorative.
It really does. It tells our stories, and it really does help. It really does have a powerful impact on our daily lives. As I said, I'm all about community and I'm all about connection. I would love to hear a fun fact that no one else knows. Are you brave enough to share with us?
Oh, well, it's just, I had to ask my husband about this, when you asked to think of a fun fact, I thought, and he thought of a few things. One of them being, I do get a bit obsessive about things. If I like things, then I just buy them. But I have a fascination with how people work. So I'm a puzzle person, which a lot of people say, so you've got your creativity one side, but I love an Excel spreadsheet with a formula in it.
I love you.
And cryptic crosswords and things like that. So I sort of balance the both, but I love finding out how things are made. So if I go on a walk, which we've been doing a lot lately, and I'm taking photos, and I'll just see, I'm not taking photos of the great big picture all the time. Sometimes I'll just see a little pattern of how a flower, and a lot of times lately it's been the spent flowers, the dead flowers, of all the patterns and how they're made and how the flower's constructed. But I also like to know what makes a person do what they do or think. I also like watching medical shows because I like seeing what's inside your body. But I cannot watch gory movies, so that's weird. It's weird.
I love that. I love that you're so inquisitive, and I love this. Okay, so you are probably the second artist that I've ever talked to that has Excel sheets because
love Excel.
It's amazing, man. You can do all these cool things with an Excel, but
and I'm the person that puts IKEA furniture together in the house. So if something's broken, I will take it apart and try and work out how to fix it.
See, I love that. That is fantastic. And my boys don't do that. They'll follow the instructions, but if they'll put it on backwards and all sorts of stuff.
My husband will just say, "Why are you trying to fix it? Just go and get a new one." I said, "No, my sharpener, it wasn't working, so I actually took it apart and fixed it."
See, that's the way you can't, I don't know about you, but I can't get one of those sharpeners for weeks. There's so many art supplies are on back order, and they're you just can't really get a lot of things. So I'm just like, yeah, you better, you need to learn how to fix things because we may not be able to have access to them.
Yeah.
So, Lee, I am just so thankful that you have joined us and you have shared your experiences with us. I'm just so honored and just thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed every minute. It's been
Well, guys, I am happy to say that you are going to be gifted a free gift by Lee. And if you click down below, she has made us a wonderful gift for us today. And so just click on the link below and download that, and you will have access to that. And stay inspired and keep creating. And we will see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.